All right, you guys, again, we are here in Lake Forest, California at Bishop HQ. We are in the retail shop where we've got all the product and ready for you, and we are still doing curbside service. Isn't that right, Miss Christina?
Well, yes, we are.
Absolutely. You guys, this is Miss Christina. She is our retail manager here.
Hey, guys.
And she is always ready to serve you and help you guys out with all your tattoo products, whether it's inkies, aftercare ointments, inks, tattoo machines, repairs, you name it, we got you.
Yep.
All right. Well, you have a beautiful rest of your day, Miss Christina.
Thank you.
And back up the hallway. Here we go. So again, guys, we are in the hallway up here. We got all this Bishop tribute art. Artists from around the world have sent us artwork. We cherish each and every one of these pieces. And as I mentioned, you guys, we are located in Lake Forest, California, but we want to know where you guys are all tuning in. Today, we'll be sitting down with the owner, Mr. Franco Vescovi, and we will be going over some tips, tricks, and treats questions for you all. So get those answers and questions ready, because here we go.
I'm practicing my Zen music. It was probably decent at best. Welcome to our first, what we're doing is we're calling this Friday with Franco, which is me. Tattooer for 27 years, been making tattoo machines for 27 years, and today our sole purpose is to educate you guys on anything that I can, anything that I know, and if I don't know it, I got my phone and I can make a phone call. What's that show called where you get to call
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yes.
Dial them in.
Hey, I can dial them in. So if we got a Steve Soto question or a Carlos Torres question, I can dial them in. But I encourage you guys all, girls, guys, girls, to answer or to ask me any questions you want to know about machinery, primarily Bishops, but in general, I love talking about rotary machines, needles, cartridges, ink. I got 27 years of experience, and it's not my own. I've collected so many cool things over the years. So what we hope to do with the Fridays with myself is to educate and to shine some light on some of the subjects that you guys might not be familiar with. And so we're going to get into some questions that you guys have asked me on Facebook through DM, and for those of you that know, I try to get a hold of everyone that asks a question, but it's hard to answer all of them. So a lot of questions kind of apply to everyone. I get questions asked where I've been asked the same question by hundreds of people. So it's exciting to be able to address those questions here. So anyone chiming in, please send us a question. And if you're watching this later, and it's not live anymore, because that's what will happen when you watch it later. It will not be live. We encourage you to send us your questions via DM. James, how else?
We can do the DMs for Instagram, but also the Facebook group or Facebook, our page. If you leave a DM, our team will make sure to get that question, and we will do our best to take care of those.
And this is just James Worldwide with Andy in the background.
What's up, guys?
Andy in the back, holding down the front. We got a team right here, you guys.
There's no method to our madness. So this is the man, the myth, and oh shit, that was an alarm that went off. So we just want to keep it real with you guys.
And this is Andy. He's been with us for the past month right now, and I can't tell you how badass this guy is. His knowledge about just business, about marketing, and you know what, with who he is, fits right in with our company, and can't tell you how excited we are to have you with us, brother.
Oh, man, thank you so much for the kind words. Stoked to be here.
So, real quick. So, again, talk about the questions again.
So, you guys, we have questions that we have been getting submitted to us, whether through DM, whether through Facebook Messenger. We're going to start addressing all of those questions. So, we have our team putting them together.
Wait, hold on. What's that on your hat?
Bees up.
Okay. Bros down. Sorry,
Don't mess
guys.
around.
Sorry, James is trying to keep it professional, and I'm being very immature.
No, but so you guys, what we're going to do today is we're going to start answering some of the questions that have been sent in. So we're going to do our best to try address those as well as the questions that you guys are asking right now. And we see that they're already stocking up. So if we don't get a chance to address your question today, please send us a message.
Yeah. This is
What
just
is
a cool
this?
color. We got toys for days.
Oh, man, why you got to tease the people out there, Franco?
I don't know. I love answering questions, guys. I love to educate. I came from a background of tattooing where nobody shared the knowledge, and I'm still not giving away everything for free. I am going to give you little tidbits of information that will help you on your journey, and you still have to discover it yourself. I'm going to give you the shovel, the pick, but you got to hunt for your own gold. But hey, guess what? Some people aren't even given the shovel or the pick, but I will. So let's get into some of the questions, Jim.
Okay, well, let's start here with Isvi Roger from Toronto, Ontario. He had just bought the wand shader and wanted to know if you have any recommendations on the voltage that he would run it at, because he's looking to do smooth shading with large mags.
Wand shader, smooth mags. Okay, so yes, let's talk a little bit about the part of your question that you didn't ask, but I know you're wondering. Voltage has everything to do with your question, especially when you're using the bigger groupings, because I always use the analogy of laying on a bed of nails. We've all seen that magician trick where someone lays on a bed of nails and a car will drive over their chest, right? And it doesn't puncture their body. So the more needles, the harder it is to get in the skin. So kind of like a light, ultralight machine, you have to push down heavier with your hand to combat that. So what grouping was he talking about in particular?
He uses large mags. So he's just looking for smooth shading with large mags.
So I'm gonna assume, let's just say you're talking about a 23 curve mag, maybe even a 27, a large mag. You gotta really realize what you're up against. You have to tattoo different with a 23 or a 27 mag as you would a 7 mag. So much so that cartridge needle companies like ourselves and different ones that are out will make a membrane that's a little different for those bigger groupings. So what I always encourage people to do, this actually applies to not just the shader but any machine, is if you're used to tattooing maybe a 7 mag at, let's just say 8 volts with whatever machine you're using, when you're busting out the 23 or the 27 mag, change it to 9 volts. Give it a little bit more power. Slow your hand speed down a little bit. So if you're kind of like whipping like this with a 7 mag, kind of slow it down in slow motion when you get the 23 or the 27 mag. You really need that time and that extra pressure and that extra voltage to really saturate and that's how you get that smooth shading. Because sometimes people are like, I don't get it, like I can't do that smooth shading like from some of my friends or people I follow on Instagram, and they got the same machine as me and they're using the same cartridges as me. It's the technique that they just happen to know that you might not know. So hopefully that answers you guys' question on that. So crank up the voltage a little bit, and I always say when you are cranking up the voltage, try it in intervals of half of a volt at a time. So if I'm speaking to you and you're using it at an 8 volt, you personally would go 8.5. Then you would try 9, and then you would slow your hand speed down a little bit, more methodical, like a printer. That's how you get that smooth shading. And of course, we all know move our rhythm around. Never shade in the same direction for too long, or you will see those lines on the skin.
Okay, well, we've got a question from Samuel, but it kind of ties in. We got several people asking right here about the battery pack. I don't know.
Okay, I know why. Because everyone's asking.
Yes, they are.
So first and foremost, I can guarantee you nobody wants this battery pack more than I do. Think about that. So if I don't have it, you know damn well I'm doing everything in my power to get it. We have a couple of components. Everything in the world is made overseas. We have a couple of components for this battery pack that's made overseas, and COVID really messed everything up for everybody. The supply chain, not just for myself, but for every machine maker and tattoo supply company just really got jacked up. So apologize for that. Take it up with COVID, whoever that is. But they really slowed shit down for us, and we would have had it, but we don't. And I'm waiting for my final samples, I think next week. So when
Fingers crossed.
When the final samples arrive next week, I'm pretty sure it's going to be good. And it's pretty cool because it just goes right on top. It's not as long as some of the ones that are out. It's kind of a shorter, same diameter as the wand.
So it fits snug with the wand then.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
so it's about the same diameter as the wand.
Okay.
Ooh, look at this one.
Ooh.
I got ADD. Sorry.
Uh-oh. Don't get sidetracked.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Well,
Same diameter. It's shorter than any of them that are out right now, so it's shorter. So a lot of people wanted that. It's very simple. It's got a voltage up and a voltage down.
Mm-hmm.
Can I give them a little sneak peek?
Sure, why not?
For those of you,
I mean, you might as well. This is the first time we are going live on Facebook.
And this thing, they're already made. Most of them, we're just waiting for.
But while we're waiting, what is that you have sitting right here?
This is a custom engraved wand by Mr. Hernan
Ooh.
from Engrave It.
How many of you all at home are enjoying this? Wow. Mr. Hernan.
Machine born. So this is it.
Okay.
Let me see the camera. Let me see what
Yeah,
they're saying.
let's see.
Okay, there we go.
Let's see what they're saying.
So look, it's a simple battery pack. It just has up and down voltage. So it's got a full voltage display.
So you're actually able to control the voltage on it versus having presets, correct?
Yep, you can have 8.1, 8.2. It starts out at, I think, 5 volts. So you can go from 5 to 14. It says 18. It's just a computer rendering. My engineer just put random numbers, so people are like, whoa, that's too high. So that's it. Off and on button. Let's see. There's the logo. Because guess what, guys? Everybody in life sometimes needs to just be charged. Be charged.
How many of you guys are all excited about that at home? You guys, we will be making that announcement, obviously, via social media, so stay tuned for that. But that now gets us...
So again, it'll be happening soon. I get the prototypes next week. If everything goes well and I approve them, they go straight to production. Could be 30 to 45 days before we get the first 1,000 pieces. So stay tuned. Definitely sign up on our mailer when you see that come out. If you're already signed up to our mailer, you're good. You'll be having the first opportunity to get it. Those of you that are signed up with our Facebook group have the first opportunity to get it. And we really want to connect with you guys on Facebook. So we're going to be doing more interviews with guys like Carlos Torres and just different people. We're going to start bringing them in on the Friday with Franco. And then it'll be Friday with Franco and so-and-so, whoever that may be.
Stay tuned.
So, stay tuned. We're going to be just having fun. So again, we really want to connect with you guys and girls in the community. We don't want to just be another tattoo supply company or a tattoo machine company. I started the company. I own the company. Carlos Torres is one of my business partners. So is our brother Sean, who founded Inkies.
And we'll talk about Inkies in one of these episodes, and we'll break down all of our... Absolutely.
Yep. So
absolutely.
I want to connect with you guys and girls. I want to be able to talk to you one-on-one. For those of you that talk to me on DM or Facebook, you don't have to do badass portraits. You don't have to be famous. I actually love connecting with everyone. So this is kind of an extension of what I already love to do as a nerdy artist. I like to connect to my community, and look, a lot of times you guys give me feedback, and then it helps me create the perfect products for you, because I'm never satisfied. I don't sleep. I'm always hungry. In fact, what time is dinner?
Time to serve it up soon.
We'll be serving that soon. So yeah, let's get into some more questions.
Well, okay, we were talking about our battery pack. Obviously, a lot of artists have other companies. Pardon?
So sorry.
Yes.
I know that some of you guys are wondering how much. I guarantee you, everyone's like, but how much? It's going to be a competitive price. It'll be somewhere around the low hundreds, somewhere around there. This thing is expensive to make. We're using a very expensive custom-made lithium-ion battery. We're using very expensive top-of-the-line motherboard, just different components on this piece. Custom mold with all kinds of cool stuff. A polycarbonate plastic right? Because we want it to be very light and very durable. So it's kind of the same plastic as what your sunglasses are made out of.
Okay.
Oakley sunglasses in particular. So it's going to be cool. Price low. One of the best battery packs on the market. Very simple to use. No gadgets. No gadgety shit. We don't make gadgety stuff. There's going to be no Bluetooth function. Although we do have a wireless foot pedal option that kind of like behaves in the same way your garage door opener does, because we all know Bluetooth fails, I don't know, 6 times out of 10. So we don't want anyone to fight with our equipment. It's very simple. We don't make shit with give. That's on you. That's your job to do it through your hand speed, through your hand pressure, through your machines. We're not that company to have gadgets, to try to market our products with fancy words and stuff that you guys will never end up using anyways. It turns on, it works, it turns off. End of story. Oh, and our battery pack lasts about 10 to 12 hours. We have 2100 mAh, M-A-H. What is mAh?
Yeah.
That's like saying I have a car with, 10 horsepower, 12 horsepower. That's like saying he throws a fastball 80 miles an hour. It's a way to measure the capacity, how much, basically, in layman's terms, how long will the battery last. So if I have 3000 mAh, it'll last about 15 hours. If I have 800 mAh, it might last about 3 to 4 hours. So ours is 2100, it'll last about 10 to 12 hours. If you use our foot switch with it, it could last you 15 hours. Yeah, so any more questions on the battery pack, let us know.
Actually, we got one as far as, obviously several other companies are making them. Samuel Shaw Tattoo from Lauai, Hawaii is asking, will the Altered Ego battery pack work on the Wanon shader, and have you had any experience? I do know Joseph has been using that.
Joseph uses that one. Shout out to Bobby from Altered Ego. If you see him at a convention near you, when they let us return. When?
He is one of our official guys out there at Bishop, so.
Official rep of Bishop. So, yeah, his work, as far as I know, I haven't heard any complaints. I know that there's some out on the market that don't really work with our brushless motors. So if you guys have had problems with our packer and a battery pack from China, it's not the machine, it is the battery pack. A lot of them aren't made quality, right? Because they don't know what they're doing. They're just making like a battery pack to power a machine. So there's lots of stuff you got to put within that battery pack to make it work.
Okay, let me see. We have Ann Palmer. She is so excited because she just bought her Packer wand and wants to know if there's any recommendations as far as lining. What would you, she's all input is welcomed and she's excited.
So the Packer is like the all-around machine. And we're going to get into, there's a question about what machine do I get. We're going to get into a little bit about the different machines.
Let's close that with that.
Want to follow it up with that one?
Yeah, we'll go to that one next.
So the Packer, you can line really good with the Packer. In fact, I do. I line with the Packer. That's for people that are more comfortable with rotary machines in general. So what I would suggest is, depending on your grouping, like if you have a 1203 tight, or you would probably do like 6 volts, you can get away with getting it in there pretty quickly. If you have a 1211 round liner, maybe 6.5, crank it up a little bit, give it a little bit more power, kind of slow your hand speed down a little bit. It actually lines faster when you do that because you don't have to go over anything. It just lays it in perfect. So I would, to really answer your question, play with the voltage. I call this the XYZ. Remember this, everyone. XYZ. What is that? It's basically a combination of voltage, hand speed, and depth, pressure. How much pressure are you putting on the skin? How fast are you moving your hand? What is the voltage? All that sort of has to align like perfect stars in the universe. That's when you snap into it and you're like, oh, there it is, I got it. So if your hand speed's off, but the other 2 aren't, you still won't get it. If one of them's on and 2 are off, you still won't get it. You got to get all 3 to align. And so what I do is I tell people, play around. First of all, know that those exist. Know about the XYZ. At one time, like in 2008, I was calling it the XYZ factor. It just sounds fancy. The XYZ factor. It's a theory that has been proven by numerous artists, including myself, that they all have to align. So if you don't know that they exist, you won't know what to look for. So know what to look for: hand speed, hand pressure, and voltage. And what you do is I always suggest playing around with it. So let's just say, I'll give you a real-time scenario. You have a packer, you have a 1205 liner, and you're moving your hand semi-slow at 6 volts, and you feel like it's not putting the ink in as good as you would like, then you can do one of two things. You can keep your hand speed and your hand depth the same, and crank the voltage maybe to 6.5. See if that fixes it. If that doesn't fix it, go back to 6 volts and maybe slow your hand speed down a little bit more. See if that fixes it. If that doesn't get it right, then crank it back up to 6.5 volts. So now you have a faster voltage. Continue a slower hand speed. Now your hand speed's changing. And maybe go a little bit deeper, just a little bit, and see what happens. So if you alternate between the X, Y, and Z, you're going to find your sweet spot with any needle, almost any machine. And when I say that, I have people like Aaron Delavedova, who does the boldest work ever, color work. I'm talking 14 liners, and he was using the Phantom, which has the same motor as the shader, right?
Yeah.
We've seen people do just as bold as color work with a shader wand as a packer, and it's just because they've kind of figured out the magic with the XYZ. Make no mistake, that shader is a powerful beast. It just has the capability of hitting softer, whereas the packer doesn't. But if you want to, turn up the power on the shader, you just turn the voltage to 9.5. Gosh, even Rich Pineda was using that at 10 volts at one time.
Well, just to follow up then, Matt Miller's got a question right here. He wants to know, does that same advice apply to the liner, your XYZ theory?
Absolutely. It applies.
Just because of that longer stroke. I mean, that longer is the real deal.
So the XYZ factor applies to coils. It applies to any tattoo machine in the world. This is like something that would apply to driving vehicles. Doesn't matter if it's a Ferrari or a Honda Civic, right? Softer you push your foot on the brake, the softer you're going to come to a stop. So this applies to any tattoo machine. In particular, mostly rotaries. It's more fun to talk about the XYZ factor because a lot of people are just kind of maybe getting into lining with rotaries, so there's like a lot of new energy into how do I do this or whatnot. But to answer your question about the liner, yes, it does apply. Same thing. Keep in mind, I always suggest that you only line with the liner. I know there's people that do powder shading.
Yeah, there's some,
and that's actually good too. I do recommend that too. Like I recommend like 5 volts. Like for those of you that like to do 3RL work, like Mr. Troshin style,
or Sorsa, yeah.
Alex Sorsa. These are some of the best in the industry to do 3RL work. Crank it down to 5 volts and get your BRAP game going. BRAP, yeah, I said it. B-R-A-P. BRAP. You'll hear that. I love that sound, by the way.
It's so beautiful.
So just try that. What was his name?
That was Matt Miller.
Matt Miller. So try the XYZ factor with the liner and keep it up until you align your 3 stars. If you have any questions, send us a DM or a message and we'll further go down the rabbit hole.
All right. Well, I got a question about some of the disposable grips. Albert Harry Carter from England wants to know where he is able to get the grips in the UK for the wand, the disposable grips.
So I believe Barber has them. They should. Barber DTS should have them. Premier Products out of Germany should have them. We got them about, it's been 6 months?
Yeah.
We've had them for about 6 months. I know some of the distributors just started picking them up. So, Albert, send us a message if they don't have them in stock, or better yet, hassle them. Send them an email first, and then let us know they don't have them. So that way you can hassle them and we can hassle them. And make sure that they place that order and get them in your country. Because we don't want you guys having to order from us way over here in the USA if you live in the UK and pay all that shipping. No one likes that. We don't mind, but we care about you.
Well, we've got let's see, just to jump around, we've got a question from Eric Hernandez out of Texas, along with everybody else that's saying on here. They want to know about the DaVinci needles. When are they going to be restocked, and how often do we get them restocked?
Okay, that's a good question. That's a good question. Let's talk about DaVinci's for a little bit. Any of your needle questions, guys, shoot them over. This is the box. Let's get
Get the lighting. Ooh.
So these needles are, gosh, here's the real truth, guys. Like, we didn't know that they would get so popular. We started ordering a lot. We started ordering a lot of these needles, to be honest, and they've been selling out every time. Every time we order more, we up our order, and then you guys keep ordering more. It's a beautiful problem to have, but nonetheless, we don't want to be out of stock. So we have a new shipment arriving next week. Monday, I think Monday and Tuesday, all the boxes arrive. So we'll be, I'd say by Wednesday, we'll be fully stocked. And then we did something kind of crazy, because here's another thing that I love just being transparent with you guys. I'll let you know how it is to be a businessman. It's frustrating sometimes. Sometimes I wonder if I should have just stuck to tattooing. But
no, we're glad you didn't.
Okay. But shipping from China, everyone knows that every needle is made in China. There's nobody that makes them here, because then they cost like $10 a piece. So all the needles are made in China. We have one of the best factories in China. Most distributors, most people that make tattoo equipment, we know who the best factories are. Like, we know where to go. They're expensive, so a lot of people don't go that route. For those of you that know how Bishop gets down, we will spend the extra $1, we'll spend the extra 50 cents, we'll spend the extra $2 on packaging. Like, we don't care, we're crazy. We don't hike up the price either. We've always been fair with the prices. But look, these needles are made at the best factory, period. There's only a handful of them overseas that are the best. A lot of the other ones are middlemen. They sell, inferior needles. They have the same body that 10 other companies have. These are designed from top to bottom by myself and Carlos Torres. I know you guys know who Carlos Torres is. Yes, the tattooer. So what's really cool about these needles, let me pop one out.
Let's take a look in here.
Stay tuned for the videos we'll be releasing on the design process. So there's our logo, right? It says made in no, it doesn't say made in Los Angeles. We put Los Angeles on the back. We'll talk about that later. Got a little diamond. We got the word Bishop right there. I don't know if you can see it.
Got the airflow.
The air vent that we invented. Where's that at? Right. Oops.
Go.
Oh, you know what?
It's on the mag. Yeah,
it's only on the liners.
It's only on liners.
Yes. We'll talk about that later as to why we have a little stabilizer bar right there. We have the membrane, no cross contamination. Carlos Torres and I designed this from head to toe. The entire body, the grips on the side, the shape, how the needle would lay flat. We have technology that, as far as we're aware of, no one is doing in the industry. It's a technology that allows the needle to lay perfectly flat along the bottom of the tray. It's a known thing in the industry that several companies, including us, we did this with our first V1 DaVincis. We kind of had no choice, and I won't get into why, but oftentimes we would have needle groupings that would, I'm going to take over here.
Just so you can show off.
Yeah, oftentimes we would use like a 1207 body for a 1009 mag. It kind of fit. But we did something different with this one, with the DaVinci V2s. Every single needle has its own custom body. Every single one.
So there's a casing unit for a 1203, and there's a different casing unit for the 1207.
Exactly. And the reason why we did this is because we wanted to make sure that, hold on one second. There we go. There we go. So we wanted to make sure that the needle doesn't move side to side. It's perfect up and down motion. Anyone that's tried these new V2s, look, they even blow away our V1s. These are designed by tattoo artists with over 50 years experience. Carlos Torres and myself, we have over 50 years experience. We don't fuck around at all. The shit we design, we're very serious about. This took 2 years to design. We're convinced We're convinced these are the best cartridges in the industry, hands down.
I know we look forward to hearing everybody's feedback.
We're convinced that they look sexy. I mean, Carlos Torres and I we were picky. We were trying so hard to give them a sleek, very low profile look on the mag. But look, guys, this cartridge. Let's talk about the technical specs of it. This cartridge, our cartridges, the needle comes out flat. It comes out perfectly right in the bottom of the tray. From the very beginning back here to the very tip. What that means is the ink flow is smoother. This actually holds a lot of ink right here. There's a nice basin. You can hold a lot of ink. Stabilizer bar, I don't know if you can see it in there. That definitely keeps it from rattling. The needles, it's got super flush soldering, lead free of course, tucked way back. We're talking a beautiful tattoo experience is waiting for you if you so desire.
And so we've had the up to the 5th. You said this week we will have the 17 to 27s, quite possibly.
17 to 27s are coming this week.
Excellent.
So we're going to have from a bug. I mean, look, we have a needle that no one has. It's a 0403. I even tricked Jack Rudy. He thought it was a single needle. Funny story. But anyhow, we got a 0403. We got a 0603. We have a 0803. We have a 1003. So when it comes to, I mean, look, I'm a fine line tattooer from Southern California. We have some of the best single needle cartridges. We have the best fine line cartridges because that's what we do. Ours are tight. They're very consistent. I wouldn't have it any other way. We have sample packs too, though. So if you guys want to send us a message, if you guys live in the United States, send us a DM with your address. I'll, for free, happily, gladly send you a sample pack, which we have. But in general, 2 years into these, I really hope to hear your feedback, everyone. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on it. So they will be restocked probably no later than Wednesday from 040, actually from single needle to 27 minutes.
Yeah, so you were talking about that. Most companies, as far as the gauges in their 3s, we have a 04 and a 06 gauge, correct?
So there's a common issue in the tattoo needle market. It is, how come not all my 1203s are super tight? Like, some of them are, some of them aren't. They're all made on a jig, the tightening jig. We have one that's consistent, so like every one comes out the same. It's the jig that we kind of invented our own custom jig.
Yeah.
And this is what's cool about tattoo artists designing, because now I see how all the other cartridges were designed. They were just designed by engineers that didn't quite understand how a 1203 really needed to be tightened for it to be tight. They just thought, like, in terms of engineering, like, let's just put them together, let's make a jig. Now, we went the extra mile as tattooers. We made a jig that was super tight. For those that want the super tight ones, we have ones that are just regular 1203s that aren't super tight. But when it comes down to the 06s, I mean, everybody I think knows what a 1203 is. Everybody knows what a 1003. It's a 10 gauge needle. For those of you in in Europe, it's a 0.3, right? So 0.30.
Mm-hmm.
8 gauge, of course, is a 0.25. We got those. But then we took we actually made some custom needles that are 0.20. We call those a 0603. Those are super tight. And then we took it upon ourselves to drive my machine, or my needle, my Japanese needle manufacturer crazy. We have some nice Japanese steel. We got a custom 0.17 gauge. We're calling that the 0403. Excellent for SMP work, by the way. People call me crazy, but I wanted to have a full range of fine line needles. I owed it to myself as a fine line tattooer from Southern California. And as this type of small type detailed work becomes more popular, we have like a huge range of fine line needles and we even have a 1001. It's a bug pin single needle, right? Those aren't out yet. We have a 1201 and a 1401, but yeah, everyone, it's it's there for you. The finest lines are there for you. So to encourage you to try them out and let us know your thoughts.
And we definitely look forward to your feedback once those are out there.
Yes.
Let's see. We got a question here from Jess Perry Tattoos that we got on Instagram, who's an all-around tattooer and has heard nothing but great things from Bishop. But would they really need to purchase all 3 wands to get the complete tattooing experience?
All right, that's a great question. So when we first came out with 3 wands, there was tons of question marks. There was people even disappointed in Bishop. They thought, wow, man, you guys have never gimmick marketed us ever, like some companies. What's up with this? And at first, I was like, wow, I've been building machines for 27 years. I used to use like 4 or 5 coils when I was using coils back in the days, like one for lining, one for shading, one for packing, another one for thick lines. And we're all used to that, right? Most of us that have been tattooing for at least 10 years or more, we're used to the psychology of not one machine can do it all. Most rotaries can do more than a coil, right? So you can use like a V6 for many different things. So I kind of thought like that would be unfair for me to, because I mean, let's really think about this. There's so many styles of tattooing. We got fine line, we have color packing, we have Japanese, we have, fine line black and gray portrait work, we have portrait color work. Everything, all those styles you can't just do with the same machine, right? So like some machines are too powerful to do fine line work. Some machines don't have enough power to do severe color packing or 1214 RL work. And so over the years we got people going, hey, I love your Phantom, but I need more power. I love your V6, but it's too powerful. I love your Michelangelo, but I find I have to play with the voltage up and down if I want to go back and forth between like portrait work and color packing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was years and years of me really knowing that there's really no machine that can do it all. And I didn't want to do a catch-all where I didn't want to. I mean, look, we came to the pen game a little late, and it was because we wanted to do it right, and we didn't want to just have another pen machine on the market. And thank God, like the reviews have been so good, and this, people have been
amazing feedback.
ranting and raving about these wand machines, and I'm not bragging. I'm actually telling you that because I feel like we deserve it. I was about to release the wand. Some of you remember, like 2 years ago, and I had thousands of parts here, and we were just about to start assembling, the diamond chiseled first version of the wand. If you guys remember, you
see some people out there using them. Yeah. They're out there.
And I threw that all away. Well, I didn't throw it in the trash. They're still boxed up. I came back from a convention and I said, you know what?
We're at the London.
I'm not going to be another Me Too. I mean, that machine was pretty badass, but I didn't want to release another one-all pen machine. I knew that there were certain people that wouldn't like it, and I knew that there would be people that love it.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that didn't like it was because it wasn't enough or it was too powerful. And I'm also a motor geek. I'm a motor nerd. I study motors. I know a lot about motors, and torque and power and RPMs. And other than that has everything to do with why people like machines. Because a lot of you guys don't know why you like a particular machine. A lot of you don't know why you love the packer, but don't really dig the shader. A lot of you don't know why you love the shader, but don't really dig the packer. And we'll talk more and more about that over the course of your questions in the weeks to come, because it's my goal that I make everyone listening an expert at rotary machines. I'm giving you guys free knowledge. So this is the last part of this thing is, yeah, I knew that you couldn't have one machine, one pen machine to do everything. And I knew that there was no 5.0. That was a task. How could we make a liner? How could we make my friend Joseph from Las Vegas line with a rotary machine? How could we make, dope artists like Grime from San Francisco line with the rotary machine?
Freddie Corbin.
Robert. How could we BJ Betts, right? How could we, because these are all good friends that don't tell me what I want to hear, they tell me what I need to hear.
Real
We've
feedback.
all said the same thing. I love your machines, but I can't line with the rotary. So I thought, first of all, I need to make a liner-specific rotary. Went on the task of finding out how I can put a 5.0 cam and bearing into a pen machine. One of my competitors, through the grapevine, I don't know how they did that, because we've tried to do that for years and it's impossible. Well, guess what? Y'all don't tattoo for a living. I do. They didn't know something. They didn't know a little trick that only a tattooer would know, not an engineer from a different place. And so I did it. I don't even know if they know how I did it, but we did it. Obviously, it's been out for a year and a half, and people are flipping on it for line work. And yeah, that was like, okay, I'm gonna make a liner wand, a liner pen machine. I don't suggest using it for color. I don't suggest using it for black and gray. Although some of you are crazy enough to do that, but it's a violent machine. It'll line like crazy. It's powerful. Then I thought to myself, I need to make a middle machine, one that could be the all-arounder for people that use different machines for everything, and that was the Packer version. And that one has a 4.2 stroke, so it's got a little bit more than the V6 in terms of stroke, unless you're using the 4.2 V6. But as a powerful motor, same powerful motor as the Packer, it's a smaller stroke. That allows it to be a little bit less violent on the skin, but still very powerful. So there's people that can actually do it. For people that are very familiar with rotary tattooing, I'm like, don't get the liner, don't get the shader, get the Packer. If you're familiar with rotary machines in general, it's a one-stop shop. You can pretty much do everything. I've seen people do beautiful black and gray, color, fine line even, 3RL work, like Troshin, right? But then there's people that even that machine's too powerful, and God forbid they wouldn't even touch the liner. No. These are people that are doing smooth black and gray that have a light hand. And they enjoy doing multiple passes. They enjoy the forgiveness of a softer machine, right? And so I used a different motor for that one. I used the same motor that we use on the Phantom. It's a softer motor. It's thinner. It's got less torque, probably about 30% less torque than the Packer and liner. That means it hits a little softer, and that's perfect for black and gray guys and girls. It's also really good for single needle work as well. So that's kind of why I made 3 different versions, and it was funny, back to what I said earlier, at first when we first launched 3 machines, people weren't really used to that idea. Like, you can get, from some of the competitors, they just sold 1 machine. And it was like kind of a different thing to do, right? Quickly people started buying them, and they started realizing, wow, you know what? There was people that would buy all 3, and they'd be like, oh my God, they all behave differently. Like, they really are different. This is not a gimmick. In fact, I don't even know what to do with my liner. I can't even use it. It's too powerful, right? They sell
There's
on the
several people.
So to answer your question, no, you don't need to buy all 3. And you know what we love to do is send us a DM and ask us which machine is right for you. I'll look at your portfolio personally.
Yep.
And I'll tell you. I do this all the time, right, James?
All the time. You guys, if you don't understand, Franco likes to get in it with everybody. So he's always answering his DMs. He's always answering his questions, and probably to the much chagrin of his wife and family. But I tell you what, he wants to make sure you guys are all taken care of out there. So you guys, he's answering the questions.
Yeah, for some of you guys and girls that know, I'm not too hard to get a hold of.
Nope.
I'll answer the DMs. I'll answer the Facebook questions. We're going to do more lives. I enjoy it, to be honest with you. It's not work for me. I enjoy it. It's the least I can do for you guys to support our families, and you support us by buying our products. We want to be a different company. We want to be a company that you feel like is family, right?
Absolutely.
If you work here, you're already feeling that way, right, James? That's how it is.
100%.
But if you don't work here and you just use our products from across the sea, from different parts of the world, like, we want you to feel connected to us. That's why we're doing these lives. I will answer your questions personally. I will look at your work if you DM us personally. Forgive us if we don't get back to you right away. For those of you that are hungry, hit us twice, hit us 3 times. You're not bothering us.
Nope,
you know
never.
How it is. I mean, you guys are guilty of that shit too. Don't act like you're not. People DM you and you don't get back to them. So don't get mad at us if we don't, but we will. We always do. And I'll look at your work and I'll tell you my opinion of what wand machine I think would be right for you.
Awesome. Well, Franco, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up today for this first episode of Fridays with Franco. You guys, get those questions ready. Please DM us, send us messages, Facebook Messenger. Get your questions ready. If it's about your machines, go ahead.
Let's slow that part down real quick. So how can they get a hold of us, James? Let's go one by one.
Well, let's see. On Instagram is Bishop Rotary. On Facebook, we have the Facebook Messenger. Yep. We've got Gabe answering that. And then on the Facebook... Shout out to Gabe, Mr. Jordan.
Hardworking Gabe, always behind the microphone.
Gabe Jordan.
Most of you guys know Gabe.
And then we have our Facebook, the Bishop Rotary group page. Yep. So those are the three... David and Homer, our guys in the Ukraine, the brothers out there, always holding it down. So those are the three ways that you can get a hold of us.
We'll rack up the questions over the course of the week. I think we're probably going to do this next Friday. This is a lot of fun. I don't know how much...
We've got, dude, we're at about 50 minutes. So we're just at about an hour.
It goes by fast.
It goes by real fast.
Is this, James, is this going to be up for people to watch later?
It should, absolutely should be. Yeah. It's going to go live, and then it's going to be up on our page. So
we're going to be just collecting your questions over the week, and if we don't get to your questions next week, we'll get to them like at some point. The good thing is most of you guys are asking the same questions, so we probably will get to them.
And if we do answer it one person and we get a repeat, we'll make sure to message and get you taken care of.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us, and hopefully this was a little helpful for you. And dive deep. I'll answer any questions as long as I have the answers to them. Thank you guys for joining Friday Facebook with myself.
And that is a wrap, you guys.
Say what's up to my homie Chuco.
Remember, have a beautiful weekend out there, everybody. Enjoy the beautiful day. Remember, if nobody loves you, Bishop and Chuco love you.